from the future here. I just finished filming this video. Only one person noticed it in the last time that I forgot to do this, but I forgot my ring again, and I feel naked. It's in my room. Whoops. Hey guys, it's Zoe. Today I'm going to be talking about my March TBR. As well in there, I will be talking about which books I will be reading on Saturday for the Readathon by Zoe. It's my very first one, and I'm excited to participate in it. I know I have a couple things going on that day, but I want to get as much reading done as possible, and hopefully get through a good chunk of my March TBR that day. As per usual, before I get into that, the language from the last video was Macedonian. I think only a couple people got that one right. Most people thought it was Russian. I understand that, the languages are quite similar, but that was the last of the languages that I actually understand a bit of, and I can speak a little bit of, so I'm worried now. I don't know how the rest of this is gonna go, and I'm probably gonna make a giant fool out of myself, but why not? That being said, today's language is Hola, hoje é quarta-feira. I don't know, quarta-feira, hoje é quarta-feira. Okay, we're gonna leave it at that. This language has two kind of main different dialects. I've heard it described as kind of the difference between American English and British English, so they're not that different, but some pronunciations are different. If you speak this language and you notice that it sounds a little bit different, it could be because I've never spoken this language and I have no knowledge of how it's actually supposed to sound other than what I found on the internet, or it could be that I'm speaking the other dialect and not yours. If the second one is the case, definitely let me know. I always want to learn more languages and the different dialects and how everybody says things. Now that I've most likely made a fool out of myself, let's just get into my March TBR. The first book is one that I've had on my TBR for a couple months now. It was forced upon me. Some of you may know who forced this upon me just by the choice and by how much she has raved about it. This one is The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale. This one is a retelling of the Grimm's fairy tale, also called The Goose Girl in English. I got something in my eyeball. My eyelash. This story follows a girl named Ani who can speak to animals and prefers that over speaking to people. I don't blame her. Ani's mother sends her off to be married off in a foreign land, and she's accompanied by a lady-in-waiting who leads a mutiny against her and leaves her running for her life. After this, Ani has to work as a royal goose girl, and no, I have no idea what the hell that means, so I need to read this to find out. The next 3 books are all part of a series. I've read the first 2, The Train is Back, and now back to our regularly scheduled program. Stupid train. Anyways, I have read the first 2 books in this series. I think it's a trilogy. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. I guess I'll find out after reading the last book. And these ones are the Queen of Hearts trilogy. Yes, it is a trilogy. I realize this now because it says right on here that it's a trilogy. Like I said, I've read these 2, haven't read this one, so I'm going to reread these to remember what the hell's going on in this one, so I'm not totally lost. Yes, I could just look it up on the internet, but I like to reread. This series is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, and it follows the main character Dinah, who is on her journey to become the Queen of Hearts. As it shows underneath the dust jacket of each of these books, Dinah starts off as a princess and then moves to being a warrior and finally becomes queen. It's technically not a spoiler because it's on the front of every book, starting from the first one, so you kind of know the chain of events, but you don't know what happens, or how it happens, or why it happened. So this next book, I just realized that I talked about this one and The Goose Girl in a random book haul that I did sometime in December. I will link that down below, and I was wearing the same shirt, so I mean, we've come full circle now. Now I'm actually going to read the ones that I talked about 2 months ago. This book is The Season by Jonah Lisa Dyer and Stephen Dyer. For some reason, I always want to say Melissa Dyer instead of Stephen. I don't know why. It's just the way my brain works. This one is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, which I've never actually read. I want to. I'll get around to it someday, but we're gonna start with this one first. Megan is a soccer star with dreams of going to the Olympics with a little bit of an attitude problem. Her mother, a proper Southern belle, decides to enter Megan and her twin into the debutante season for that year. Megan's now faced with the choice of becoming a proper Texan lady like her mother expects, or she's gonna get the boot from her family. Megan's kind of thinking that being a debutante may not be so bad, especially if she gets to stick with her family after, but then she gets thrown into the middle of a media frenzy, she's humiliated in front of 10-year-olds, and she gets punched in the face by another girl. The next book was in the December Owl Crate box, and this book is Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. This book features a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I'm not mad about that. Claudia accidentally eavesdrops on the breakup of the school's it couple, and things really go downhill for her. Iris, one of the girls in the former it couple, couple is out for blood, and Iris and Claudia get thrown into the production of A Midsummer Night's Dream against their will. Iris and Claudia need to get their together real quick and figure out how to work together. This next one is yet another one from that random December book haul. This one is Speak Easy, Speak Love by MacLeod. This book is a Much Ado About Nothing retelling. Apparently March is going to be the retelling month, and I'm not mad about it. This book follows a girl named Beatrice who's planning on having a quiet, easy summer, and then she finds out that her cousin Hero is running a speakeasy out of their basement. Kind of blows all of your plans out of the water because that was illegal. If you hadn't picked up on it, this is set in the 20s. Naturally, because running a speakeasy out of your basement was highly illegal, they have the cops chasing after them, they have rival, I'm assuming, speakeasy owners chasing after them, and then you gotta remember that driving Model Ts, so how crazy of a car chase can that really be? This next book has been on my TBR for maybe a year now. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's been there. I just haven't gotten around to it. This book has obviously been pushed off to the side, but it's here now, and this book is Wild Awake by Hilary T. Smith. This book follows a girl named Kiri who gets a strange call from somebody that she's never met before, saying that he has some of her sister's things. The thing is, her sister died 5 years ago. Kiri's parents are gone away on vacation, so she takes it upon herself to go and meet this guy and figure out what kind of her sister's stuff that he has and why he is calling 5 years later. This next one is one of my most anticipated for this month. This one is God's Grave by J. Kristoff. I read the first one, Nevernight, in January, and I absolutely loved it. For whatever reason, I didn't get around to it in February, but now's the time. I am so ready for this one. I'm not going to talk about what this one is about because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I will link the video to when I talked about what Nevernight is about so you can kind of get an idea of what the series is going to be about. The last book on this TBR is one that I've had for a couple of months. I don't know why I haven't gotten around to it. It's one of my favorite series. This one is Origin by Dan Brown. That's super glary. This is the 5th book in Dan Brown's Robert Langdon series. You don't really need to read them in order. There are some things that are mentioned that could be confusing. Generally, you can read them as standalones. This one is set in Spain. I think it's the first time that one's set in Spain. France, Italy, America, Spain. Yeah, first time in Spain. This time, Langdon is attending a conference that has a scientific discovery that will change the face of science forever. While at this conference, the night erupts into absolute chaos, and the discovery that is being presented is on the brink of being lost forever. Langdon and his new sidekick, Ambra Vidal, the museum director, are trying to figure out what went wrong, who attacked this scientist, and what his discovery was. So that was my March TBR. I don't know which ones I'll pick for Saturday for the readathon hosted by Zoe over at Read by Zoe. It's really weird to say that. I have met maybe 2 other Zoes in my entire life, and it's just, I'm not used to saying my name with regards to someone else. Anyways, I'm hoping to get through at least 3 books that day, so I might do the Queen of Hearts trilogy. I don't know yet. We'll see. If any of these books are on your March TBR or you have ones that are similar, definitely feel free to leave that down in the comments below and we can compare what books we're going to be reading next month. I think that's all I really had to say for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. To stay updated with my current reads, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads, all at You're a Book Nerd Zoe, and I will leave all of those linked down below for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day and get at least a little bit of uninterrupted reading time. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!